Holy shit. I feel like Benjamin Franklin right now. I got so much electricity going through my fucking hands because it's time for the trade away targets. Woo, baby. Can I get a woo, son? Yeah, fucking clap it, baby. Oh, yeah, this is the trade away show. This is Out of Pocket Sports. We do this for 12-man leagues, PPR formats. And guess what? If you got a question, you need to figure out who you need to trade away or maybe even trade for on your team. Drop a comment. If you need to figure out what condom size fits you, drop a comment. If you need to figure out how to get away from your uncle who keeps touching you, but he's also buying you nice BB guns too, and it's kind of an issue you need to figure out, comment below. We got it, son. We're dialed in. Boy, I got some fucking energy. Y'all got some fucking energy tonight. Scatty, you just gave me the biggest eye roll I've ever seen, you little sassy son of a bitch.
We might have to censor some of your things because YouTube might not be so friendly. But fuck it, we're Out of Pocket Sports, baby! If we get banned, you get banned too.
Yeah, I'm about to say, come on now. But we're going to pan to the guest. We got a guest here. If you watch the Trade 4 segment, then you know who it is. He was outside. Well, guess what? He's in the house now. He's got in. He's found the keys, and he's got in. So now he's inside, and he's going to do the tradeaways. And if you don't know his name is Carson Harris. And then apparently, the fantasy god? Is that what you're calling yourself? Is that what you're claiming yourself? Because I want everyone to rip the fuck out of you.
Yeah, it's me, FG, not field goal fantasy guy, but I should have known there was actually a key underneath the mat the whole time. Yeah, I was just kind of messing with the outdoor feeling. It was different.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, as always, pleasure to be here and finally bring some intellect to this podcast and some great advice.
Oh, yeah.
So, number one, trade away target, or this one, targets.
Yeah.
Any Texans wide receiver. Look, it's kind of a committee-based. Texans are a hot offense. CJ Stroud is like the it girl. He's going to chuck it. He's also is he going to throw 350-plus every fucking game? No. And he doesn't have a number one receiver. He's just chucking it deep, whether it's Noah Brown, Tank Dell, fucking maybe even Robert Woods. Who knows? He could have a breakout game. But point is, I don't trust any of them. Just get rid of them. Someone will probably look at that and see, Noah Brown's back-to-back weeks or Tank Dell's potential and trade for that. For me, trade that shit away. Maybe you can get something better for it. You should be able to. Now, if you're trading with someone who's a top 3 or 4 or 5 manager, it's not going to work. So, definitely try and trade him away.
Okay. I mean, I agree in the sense of Noah Brown because his values peaked. Well, they had one game where they absolutely imploded in points, so he was valuable. Then the past game, Nico was down, so he filled that role of what Nico had. So I feel like that was kind of gave the value for Brown. Nico, it's always a toss between him and Dell. So if I'm going to pick one, I'll probably pick Dell because it seems like Stroud has an eye for him. But this is also we're arguing pennies on the dollar here. So it's really – I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot – people, like you're saying, you can package together like one of these Texans wide receivers, sprinkle a little trade for RB that we're going to mention in here, and you might be able to get something back. That's going to make you a little jitter. Make you wake up in the morning,
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? You could gamble, and one of them will probably finish the top 25. I just don't know who the fuck it'll be. All right, number 2. From the worst team in America, the Cowboys, we have RB1, but not really, Tony Pollard. Get his ass off your fucking roster. Homie hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. And there was 5 or 6 touchdown scores in the last game. You can't even score against the Giants. Ship him the fuck out. TP's done with. You can get someone really good for him because as of right now, he's still top 10 ranked running back. I mean, the world's your oyster with that one, especially if you have, which they all are, delusional Cowboys fans in your league. Go ahead and see what they'll give you for that one. You are going to get a great return.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. Because, I mean, and also if you're talking to the fantasy managers and they're talking about, Tony's been shit, well, just pitch to them. They got Carolina coming up, and I believe they have 2 other games that are coming up that are pretty juicy for themselves. So he has plus matchups coming up, and someone could think, maybe he's going to turn that corner. And you could definitely pitch that idea to him. So, and then the playoffs is kind of atrocious for him, and they got to play Philly again. So he goes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, they have still a tough schedule with in division and just in general as well. Also with some of those softies. Yeah. All right, last one from the best team in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
oh, how can you say
yeah.
that when they just got beat?
Oh, yeah. Hey, fucking, yeah, go ahead,
Even
Carson.
studs have bad bodies, all right? And the Ravens, they just had a bad
Getting
loss. They
God
had a bad loss. They
wrong
had a bad
sometimes.
body, a bad loss. It's whatever. It happens, all right? You can't win every game. So with that though, we got a little guy named Keaton Mitchell that is emerging as maybe a stud, who knows? And he is taking
Yeah.
away from Gus Bus or Gus Edwards. Trade him away. I've definitely reaped rewards off of him. So has Pulliam.
Hey, now.
But
Hey, now.
it's a running back by committee team as a whole, and the lead of that committee is Lamar Jackson. And Gus Bus was a solid RB2 on that team for a while now. And now Keaton Mitchell's taking that right behind Lamar. So I personally don't like the question mark surrounding it. And especially with the injury bug that's in the Ravens facility area, Baltimore as a whole, motherfuckers just get injured out there.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. I just don't like the question mark that surrounds his name.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good because you got to think, because Scotty talked about it in the trade force segment with Lamar Jackson. There's no way he doesn't just score rushing touchdowns like it goes on the drought that he's been going on. I mean, he's been on an absolute drought in the red zone. It's been people like Gus Bus has been soaking it up. So you got to think that's going to change at some point. Don't get me wrong, Gus Bus is the goal line back, but he's strictly the goal line back. And like you're saying, I mean, there's a couple games he had some 20-point plus games, and that looked juicy. Now this past week,
Yeah.
I think he still had a touchdown, but it wasn't as high. But definitely you could move him away. So yeah, what do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, I think that's a good move too. And I'll tell you why. He put up a decent showing against the Browns, whose rush defense is top 3 in the league. And you can use that to your advantage and say, you know what, he still scored a touchdown against one of the top rush defenses in the league. And that's pretty good. And you might be able to
Cleveland.
Yeah, boy. You might be able to come at somebody and manipulate them a little bit. Because fantasy, let's be honest, fantasy is all about manipulating people. That's what you do. So you can look, and Pulliam loves manipulating people.
Ask
Hey,
X's about that one.
hey, not as much as Carson likes it. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Hey,
two
hold
of
on.
them to be there.
No, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
Like a Texas Christian, man. I'm a good guy.
Oh, I'm sure you are. That's the biggest red flag you can say right there. That's what they all say. Oh, I'm a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Oh shit. Well, Scotty, get into your fucking trade away. Who are you trying to kick the hell off your team?
Yes,
And
sir.
trying to-
And
yeah.
I'm going to stick with the Cowboys theme here, and I'm going to trade away Dak Prescott. I'm going to sell him very high. Over the past 4 weeks, actually 5 weeks, they had a bye, so 4 games for the Cowboys. He has been QB1 in fantasy. He's outscored Josh Allen. He's outscored Jalen Hurts. He's outscored Patrick Mahomes in terms of fantasy production. And that's saying a lot for our guy, Dak Prescott. And I'll tell you why. You mentioned Tony Pollard was having a rough time on the ground, and that's leading the Cowboys to pass and pass and pass even more. So you can use that to your advantage. Now, I'm not saying if you have Dak Prescott and you're comfortable with the rest of the way with him, he does have some juicy matchups coming up. He's got to play the rest of the NFC East coming up here. So Commanders, Eagles, teams like that. I mean, he's just going to keep dropping points. But that could mean you could trade high for him. I think you could probably get a Mahomes-type player. I think you could get a Josh Allen-type player. I think you could get a Jalen Hurts, maybe a little 2-for-1 action, just because of the way Dak Prescott has been playing. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know if you can get Mahomes. Maybe
I was
Allen.
with you kind of till the end. 2-for-1 for a QB. I mean, shit. You better be the picks god.
Better be on the spectrum a little bit, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with your principle. I think Dak is definitely. That's crazy. He's QB1 over the past 5. I wouldn't have guessed that. Definitely inflated by his 2 insane home performances, fresh off the bye, and then this week. It's tough to say because he had like for instance last year, right? The really hot streak, like first 4 games studded. So I mean, he'll probably finish lower end top 10. But I mean, if you can get what is commonly viewed as better quarterbacks like a Josh Allen, a dual threat Lamar, or whatever, yeah, I mean, I'd say why not? I trust those offenses more, but more importantly, those quarterbacks more. So it's worth a shot.
Bro, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Philly fan, but I could see Dak finding his way into the top 5 in the year just based on They play Carolina, Washington, Seattle, Buffalo, Miami. Detroit's a tough one, and then Washington again. I mean, these are teams that have been beat up on the secondary. Now, Carolina, I could see him not putting up as much just because people haven't been passing on him because they get up by so much. But as y'all saw last week, fucking Dallas don't give a shit. Bro, they're up by like 30 points. Fuck it. CD to Dak. CD to Dak. They just keep running it. I don't know. It's a tough one because I'm assuming you got Dak off waivers or something cheap, right?
Yep.
So I'm assuming then that fixes your QB struggle. But I mean, if you can maybe elevate it to a Allen, the only problem with Allen is, and like Lamar is like you got some really low floor games. I feel like Dak hasn't really showed that low floor, at least in this stretch. So I don't know. That's a tough one. But I mean, I get your perspective because you're trading up. You're trying to trade at a ceiling, which is what we're always trying to do. We think we want to trade people who are going to at their ceiling and they can't peak anymore. But I don't see why. Because I'm also trying to figure out, should I trade away CD? Because I mean, I don't think he's going to be putting up 40-point games. But at the same time, it's like I don't see anything changing based off the fucking schedule. Like, what's going to change? Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, exactly. I don't know.
It's weird when you put it that way because I would trade Dak Prescott, but I wouldn't trade CD. I love his target share and reliability. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to trade for Allen or Lamar, but you can trade for whoever. Because I am kind of with you. Allen won't be the same quarterback he's been. The Bills, this is just one of their off seasons. There's too many key injuries on defense, which is making the offense struggle, and he's forcing it. But regardless, yeah, I mean, you can get I don't know what you can get, but you could probably get something nice for Dak.
Yeah, maybe like an injured Jalen or Mahomes. I think that would make me move. But besides that, I don't know, man. Like I don't know where he's gonna end up, man. He looks good. He looks really good right now. So yeah, give me your baby.
Yeah, moving on here. We got Brian Robinson, who had an elite RB1 performance this past weekend. He put up like 25 points. Yeah. He's probably the difference maker in your game if you played him. He might have gotten you the dub this week. So you might be eternally grateful for Brian Robinson. But even though he put up 25 points in elite RB1 performance, he only rushed the ball 8 times for like 40-some yards, which says a lot. He miraculously had 119 yards through the air with like 5 or 6 receptions, which is just an anomaly, I feel like. I don't think that'll ever happen again this year. I think he's currently at his season. And an elite RB1 who's primarily a rusher, which Brian Robinson is, that's not very promising that he only rushed for 44 yards. So I think you should trade away him, get someone better, get someone on a better offense. Maybe you could throw him with another maybe lower level wide receiver for an upper tier wide receiver or an upper tier running back. Yeah. But I just don't see Brian Robinson having as great a game the rest of this year as he had this past weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And also, just to intervene, Bills defense is at 7 points right now. Fuck you, Scatty. Suck my dick. Yeah. If you didn't tune into the last one currently right now, I'm in a very butthole type matchup. And Bills defense, I need you to get 7 or less, please. But Carson, what do you think? What do you think about that?
About your shitty fantasy team or Ryan State?
Fuck you. I got a better record than you after this week.
You won't because I'm about to win. But,
yeah, I mean, Brian Robinson, I think that's a good trade high because we've seen him have monster weeks and we've seen him majority of the season have lows. And Sammy's a passer. I don't think Brian Robinson is going to be the lead receiving person in all the remaining games, which is what he was for this game. So I don't think
I mean that'll be his only the RB1 performance of the season. Yeah. He usually has 1 or 2 big games. Seems like I think he had something like that last year. And again, his receiving yards, he had his one catch to start off was like 60, 70 yards for Tutty. Yeah, that shit just doesn't happen every week. Trade him away. I don't think too many managers will see him as an RB1 if they're smart, but definitely can get someone for him.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on with my last pick here, we need to sell high on David Montgomery. And I'll tell you why. David Montgomery was a elite RB1 fantasy quarterback to start this year. But since he had that rib injury, actually prior to it, he was carrying over 70% of the snaps. Jahmyr Gibbs was just kind of an afterthought. People thought maybe he would get involved, maybe he wouldn't. But that injury proved a lot to fantasy managers. And it proved that Jahmyr Gibbs is a 3-down back. And since coming back from injury, He only posted elite RB1 running back numbers because he had that 70-yard touchdown that should have been called back because he stepped out of bounds. You got lucky on that one, Mr.
If he should have been called back, it should have been called back, but it wasn't because that's not how it happened.
It should have been. He stepped out of bounds, but there was not conclusive evidence.
Not according to the game.
But anyways, he didn't see a single target that game, and Jahmyr Gibbs just has such explosive capabilities. And he even saw a couple goal line touches this week too. So that was impressive from Dan Campbell, trusting him at the goal line. I think he had 2 touchdowns this weekend. Jahmyr Gibbs did. So that's a little bit concerning that they're taking away goal line touches from David Montgomery. Now they're still giving it to him at the goal line. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have the ability to punch it in. And he kind of proved that this past weekend.
David Montgomery doesn't have the ability to punch it in?
He had the ball like 8 yards or eight times. I'm not
also
drunk.
Too, if you watch the game, Gibbs got the touchdown carries because he went out at like the 1 and they gave it to him because he had an explosive run that got all the way to the 50. And they're not going to just give it to David. They were like, we're going to give this guy's props. He got us all the way here. We're going to give him the run. That's the goal line carry that he got. Besides that, David still got all the majority of the runs. This is the first week coming off an injury. As you saw, he wasn't given that much of a snap percentage. They're going to work him in because already Dan Campbell talked about we want to have him in playoffs. We don't give a fuck if he's dead right now. We're going to work him in. Gibbs is showing that he can do it right now. This is
coming from a fantasy manager who has David Montgomery and he wants to believe in him. So this is coming from a guy who wants to believe in David Montgomery's success.
Now, here's a guy. Look, I also have Montgomery in my other league, and I'm a little bit more optimistic on him, mostly because I traded away Kamara for him in another package deal. But it's tough to say. I'm with Polium. They're working him back. It's his first game back. And in that first game back as really the RB2 of the day, he still scored 15, 16, 17 points. Now, yes, there was a large run, but he still got his tutty that he should, in theory, get every game. This is a Lions team that's built around a solid offensive line. Yep. And just look at Jamal Williams from last year. He was the lead back with DeAndre Swift on the team, who's a better running back. I think David Montgomery still has a place in the team. He's still going to get his touchdowns. It's just a matter of how it ends up the next couple of weeks. I think there's a possibility he can still be successful if it's 60-40 split in favor of Gibbs. But I do agree that he probably is not going to be the Montgomery he was the first half of the season.
Yeah, I agree. He's not going to get the 70%. This is going to regress to a 50-50. And I'm also looking at his schedule right now. I'm pretty sure he gets Chicago, he gets Green Bay, and then he gets New Orleans. So, I mean, this is not a scary matchup he's going against coming up. And I think after the New Orleans game, he gets Chicago again, I believe. So, I mean, it's – you hate trading away someone like that who has a juicy schedule and an offense who's absolutely cooking, who gets all the goal line work. Because the difference between, I feel like, him and Gus Bus, because Gus Bus is someone who is strictly, they plug him in at the goal line. David Montgomery's getting carries like in between the 20s too. So, and now this week he didn't get pass catching, which I think that's going to be one thing that changes. So prior to the injury, Montgomery was getting some pass catching. I think that's going to transition strictly to Gibbs majority of the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's where I agree with you, Carson, and Skaddy that he's not going to have that David 30-point ceiling unless he gets like 4 tutties or something. He's not going to get that, but he's going to be a really good RB2 for you, and he's going to have a high floor just because he's going to get that goal line work so much. So
I got one last point on this to reinforce. I'm pretty passionate about my boy Demont. 2 things. One, they should not be using Homie in the pass game. Like, he's a north-south running back. Don't even bother. Yeah. It's a waste of talent. But the last thing is the Lions run the ball top 5 in the league in terms of if it's a pass or a run. So there's always going to be demand and opportunity there. And for me as a fantasy manager, holding them, love it.
Yeah.
All I want to say to kind of close is Gibbs really proved.
Oh, you're closing my close? Dude, fuck you.
Yeah. I just want to say Gibbs really proved how good of a running back he can be while Montgomery was out. And I think that shows a lot to Dan Campbell. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year plays out.
Let me tell you a key thing you just said there. While Montgomery was out, he's back, and he's going to take the fucking throne, baby.
I know.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to get into mine. I'm going to try to wrap it up real quick because we are running a little long. So currently, right now, I am trying to shoot off. Boom, Chris Olave. Now, the only problem is he's on a bye, so it's kind of like, whatever. But the reason why I'm trying to send him off, Chris Olave had 0 points going into halftime with Derek Carr at the helm. Jameis Winston came in and literally like flash hand, like, holy shit, 10 points. Holy shit, touchdown. Holy shit, all this. I don't think Jameis Winston is going to be the QB for New Orleans Saints just because we saw Jameis Winston in that last half. I mean, boy said, oh, like his head turned and that Buccaneer head came back on. He's like, yeah. Dude, he was fucking chucking.
Mr. 30-30 came out.
Dude, throwing them interceptions. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. If Jameis Winston, for some reason, becomes the starter, Chris Olave to the moon. But I don't think it's going to happen. Carr's going to come back, and we're going to see more of these mediocre games from Chris Olave. That's a touchdown-dependent type wide receiver. But right now, everyone's seeing Chris Olave from the previous game where he had a decent game, and then this game he had a good game, and people were thinking, okay, this is that time, second-year wide receiver breakout. Let me get all in it. But I don't think that's going to happen if Derek Carr is back throwing. So I think this bye week should be enough for him to heal up and then possibly get back. It depends on what happens. It was like some shoulder injury, and then he went into concussion.
It's always his fucking shoulder. This man literally, he'll fall to the ground and like the shoulder, you know? Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's probably the best trade away candidate that's been said so far. It's just unless James is that quarterback. Unless Jameis is that quarterback, it's not feasible. He's not there anymore. But Jameis loves feeding WR1. I mean, look at what he did with Mike Evans. So yeah, I mean, you could even wait one more week. Well, post bye, depending on Derek Carr's injury, he'll probably have another good game, and then you can trade him away for maybe more value. But yeah, really, I like that one a lot.
All right, what do you think, Scotty? You're quiet over there.
No comment. You pissed me off last time.
Yeah. All right, my next one is going to be Mr. Saquon Barkley. This is strictly because the Giants are hot ass. This is a team that is just shaping up for the draft. Barkley feels so bad for the guy. He's on a freaking franchise tag. He's getting beat up. He knows he's going out there. He's getting that almost 30 carries, and he knows he's going to get fucking beat up. And he just has to repeat it. And he's probably going to get hurt at some point because, I mean, it's going to be way too much. So, strictly – Giants suck. They're not going to move the ball past the 50 much. Get rid of Barkley. That's just kind of how it is. I don't know what you're going to be able to get rid of him for. I don't know. But I'm trying to get rid of him off the team while I can. And
I completely agree with that. I think his increased share is definitely going to be making him prone to injury. So and he likes to get injured a lot. So I would get him off your team ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing as a fantasy manager that's going to win the chip, why would I want a player on a dumpster fire of an organization? Get his ass out. If you even drafted him, why are you in a league paying money to play? Not a good decision.
Yeah. And then the last one I'm going to say is Mr. Kenneth Walker, and this is strictly because he had a breakaway run this past week for a fat tutty. It looked really good. It looked really juicy. And don't get me wrong, when you have Kenneth Walker, this is what you expect. He is the type of runner where you draft him, but not because he's going to like get 10 yards every carry. He's that breakaway guy to where he can break away, get them big chunk plays every once in a while. And we're slowly seeing Charbonnet take over this backfield. I think he's out-snapped him for the second time again this upcoming past week. So it's interesting to see what's going to end up happening. I think this backfield is going to regress to a 50-50. You're not going to be able to start Charbonnet. That's not the case. I mean, you still might be able to do some of Walker depending on goal line carry, but I think this team, if you look at the upcoming matchups, it's so juicy for wide receivers, and I think Geno's going to start kind of carving them up a little bit more. You got JSN who's going to be coming out, and then you got DK's got to come back from something. You know, I don't think he's going to continue to do what he does. He's going to have to turn a corner. And I mean, Lockett has been Geno's guy, but we know Lockett will not probably be there by the end of the year. Not end of the year, but next year, meaning. So, yeah, I mean, I just really don't like it for Walker. It's very kind of boomer bust type running back, and I just don't like that Zach Charbonnet's kind of taking over the backfield. I shouldn't say taking over, because when I say taking over, it means like he's the guy who's getting more points. He's taking enough away to where he's making Walker not that what he actually is right now. So,
yeah, I think Seattle has had a couple rough weeks. Definitely some soul searching after the Lions-the-Ravens games, the one where they got blown out. But
yeah.
Look, you're seeing a change in the guard over there in Seattle. And, Charbonnet is a solid running back. He's going to slowly take away shares from K9. And, same thing with JSN. He's not going to take away from DK. DK is WR1. He's going to get his targets. He's fucking diesel. Yeah. But Lockett, JSN can easily replace him. So if you want to look for buy low, a little bit of a stash almost, both those guys are definitely good pickups.
Yeah, as a K9 owner, I agree with that. It's frustrating to see Charbonnet get the carries that Kenneth Walker should be getting. And if you look at it this past weekend, Kenneth Walker had one catch that he broke off for a touchdown that really just saved his week in fantasy. So moving forward here, his schedule gets tougher. Zach Charbonnet on the rise. It's tough to buy into Kenneth at this point.
It's a big thing because the schedule gets tougher. But I mean, I like Kenneth. I think he's a good running back, but it just seems like the situation is just starting to become a 50-50, which we're seeing so much in the league nowadays. I mean, I don't know if it's just because keep snap count down to keep people there because running backs just, I mean, y'all seen this year how fucking atrocious it's been. So, yeah. But that's been the pod. If you made it to this point, holy shit! I'll send you $5 if you made it to this point. Holy shit, baby! Stop your Venmo down below. But I'm super glad that we got this out, and hopefully y'all can get a little bit of this information, channel it in your fucking little brains, and guess what? You can take it to your league. You can win that league, and get ready because guess what? The deadline's coming soon. It's coming soon. So get these trades in. Let's go. Let's get out of here. See you in the next one.
Go Bills.